Okay, my name is Andy Lee Graham, and I've lived abroad for 26 years, almost 27 years, in 115 countries. And I thought I'd tell you a story today about the Chitwan Forest. It's in Nepal, south of, I think it's south of Kathmandu. Not real sure, but it's the Chitwan Forest. And my friend Rishi, uh, I'm going to tell you about chasing rhinos. Okay, and if you buy that book of mine, Travel, you'll see a picture of a rhino in there. I had this Mavic camera with a 3.5 inch floppy disk thing in it, and this is, the evolution of digital cameras was interesting. But I had these 3.5 inch floppy disks, and we chased rhinos on top of elephants. Okay, so how this started was I went to Kathmandu and I met a man named Rishi. And Rishi was helping me to try to manufacture backpacks. And I've always had a dream of manufacturing a backpack, and I've even got a name for it, the the windmill, because chasing windmills from Don Quixote, okay, which is chasing a dream. But I finally, I spent a lot of time with Rishi, and we became pretty good friends. And he took me to his friend's place, which was we got on a bus. Long story. The mountains of Nepal are probably the most beautiful on the planet. I think maybe the terraces and the going through the let's see, what mountain range is that? Okay, but you got Mount Everest there, and you've got some beautiful mountains. So we work our way down to this Chitwan forest, and we connect up with one of his friends. Now, his friend, the Chitwan forest is like a controlled area, and often the only thing that saves animals, like if you go to the Masai Mara in Kenya, the only thing that saves the animals is they put them in a reserve. Okay, so these reserves save the animals. Now, fortunately, in Nepal, which is like India light, both of them are kind of pretty much vegetarian. So the animals in India, the animals in Nepal are much more prolific than here in Africa, where they eat them all. Okay, but I went with Rishi to his friend's house, which his friend's house was on the side of the Chitwan forest. And so what we did is I think we had 3 elephants. Okay, and I don't know if you've seen elephants in the I don't know, maybe at a mall or something, and they're these little dinky things. This elephant was tall as a room. So if he was in this room right now, it would be as you need a ladder to get on top of these things, okay? And but fortunately, they kind of bend down and they kind of allow you to climb on the trunk and get on the back. So let's see. We had, I guess, 2 of us on each elephant, and I think there was 3 elephants, and we were chasing rhinos. Okay, now the only animal that is actually afraid of the only animal that a rhino is afraid of, I guess, is an elephant. Okay, and I would have never guessed, never thought or felt the tremendous power of an elephant. But okay. So these elephants are, they're like, it's hard to imagine how tall they are. Okay, these are extremely tall animals. The ones you see in the like Chiang Mai, Thailand, or something like that, are half the height of these elephants. And because these are more beast of burden elephants, they're used for farming and things like that. But we each got on an elephant, and we walked through the elephant grass. Now, elephant grass is like, I don't know. Every once in a while I'll see it in different countries, but elephant grass is about, say 8 feet high. So that basically you're walking through this grass, and it's really quite almost romantic because it just spreads out, and the the elephant is sort of gliding through this grass because they're pretty quiet. Okay, they're not quiet, but the person that was managing the elephant had a stick in his hand, and he kept pounding on that elephant on top of his head. He had kind of like a big mark. You know, they have a mound on their head, and it's kind of like a bump, and they kind of pop it and say different words at the time as we go through, you know, to steer the elephant. Now that's pretty casual. Okay, so going across, we went through the elephant grass, then we got to the river, and we walked across the river on an elephant, and the water would have had to been over 8 feet deep, 10 feet deep before we would even get slightly wet. I mean, it was such a big elephant that there was no way for us to get wet. Now, I was trying to take photos, and I should have taken more photos of the other elephants. Instead, I kept trying to focus on the rhinos we started to chase. There was like 2 or 3 rhinos in the Chitwan forest on the other side of the river. So when we went across the river, we started encountering, we started finding rhinos. Now, rhinos are about half the height of a thing, and they're going through the tall grass too. So all you see is this, you know, rhinoceros tusk, or, you know, the horn of the rhino. Okay, and it was kind of funny, but that wasn't the biggest story that I felt. The biggest emotional rush that you have is that an elephant it's not afraid of the forest. Okay, so what it would do, it would come along and it would take its snout and really just rip trees in two. Okay, so you're on the back of this elephant and it's just ripping these trees in two, and it's anything that got in its way, it moved. There was 2 or 3 areas where they had built like concrete. It looked like a stall, a big concrete stall where they could actually push the rhinos into this area. I don't know why they would ever try to capture a rhino. I don't really remember that. But we could have pushed it into this area and then pinned it up against the wall and kind of corralled it. And this corral was probably about 10 feet high, made out of concrete, kind of a U-shaped thing. And it was our push to always push it into this corral. Now, the rhino would come running through, and the rhino's a lot faster than the elephant, okay? The elephant's sort of a very fast, lumbering animal, but it's because it's so big, it had trouble getting through this kind of dense forest, and it would just rip these trees up. So there's nothing more exhilarating than to be on the back of an elephant that just grabs a tree and rips it in two. I mean, literally would take a tree like that and rip it in two, just break it, okay? And there's so much raw energy, nothing more powerful than the energy of nature. I always remember when I was in Acapulco, Mexico, in Pia de la Cuesta, and I came out one morning and the whole beach was gone. I mean, it's like the waves came in and just dredged the beach away, and we had to get on a ladder to go down to the beach. I mean, when you see the ravages of like a hurricane or a typhoon or different things, and I've experienced most of these things, but this elephant was quite spectacular. So we would go around, and here I am on the back trying to hold on. But when you're sitting on an elephant is really wide. So my legs were spread out like really wide. You really need to practice the splits before you get on an elephant. But I'm on the back trying to make sure I don't fall off, holding on to this. There was kind of a strap or something that you could hold on to that was connected to the elephant or wrapped around the throat or something like that. And I was trying to, use my camera. Now, because the rhino, I only got like 1 or 2 pictures of the rhino. And I never got any good pictures, never got a close picture, because the rhino's going in the grass and you have to try to doing. I should have taken a video, but at the time it was very difficult to take videos. This is way before YouTube, right? And so I would be trying to focus, not fall off the elephant, while this elephant is using such extreme force. And it's like a vicarious emotional battle that's happening, okay? And I was really very fortunate for Rishi, and I was very happy to have him as a friend. And it was kind of funny. I'll tell you, I was always laughing. They were, the Maoists were coming in and taking, every day they would try to get bribes from him. So he'd have to pay bribes to the Maoists. And I didn't understand bribes at the time as much as I do now, but I said I would have just paid the bribe and then snuck down the road about 100, 200, 300 yards and killed the guy. Okay, I said, I don't put up with this crap. But bribes work because people are afraid of the overwhelming force, and they happen very big. They're very big in Guatemala, Dominican Republic. Mexico's the champion of bribes, and but Rishi was a friend of mine, and he was a good man. Okay, and what was interesting though, and I really felt some shame here at the end, because at the end of the thing, we tied up the elephant, and they used this just little rope and they put it on its leg. And I guess the story goes that an elephant learns as a little elephant that he can't escape, and he never again tries to break. Now this elephant could have pulled this out with his eyes closed, but they put little small ropes, and it was quite majestic because the elephant is so big. And I remember sitting on the side of this hill, and they're deciding to give me a feast. Now, this is where I felt some personal shame. And there's a couple of times, like in Niger, Africa, I felt a lot of shame because I was trying to, I thought this guy was begging and he was really selling something. And I actually even carried the bag that I bought from the man. I've been carrying it, I don't know, 15 years. I use it to carry my passport and different things inside, coins and different things, USB chips. But there's another story about Niger, Africa, and the famine that wasn't a famine. Okay, but after we were done, they decided that they were going to buy a chicken somehow and cook it. So they cooked the chicken, and of course, as is nature, even though they're giving me a gift, I had to pay for it, which is I guess, fine in the long run. And I was quite angry because the cost of the chicken was very expensive. Now, what you learn in geopolitical understanding that you don't always understand when you're on the spot is that they don't really eat chickens there. They don't eat them. So it's a very expensive kind of animal. And they went to great lengths because they knew that I ate meat. And they cooked this chicken, and we sat around, we ate it, and we celebrated. Okay, our chasing rhino story. Okay, now how can I ever explain all the different stories of my life? How will I ever be happy with just a simple life? I have more stories. Famine in Niger, I don't know, going to Kopipi after the tsunami. There's so many things that I've done and so many experiences that I've had. That's the story of my life. Okay, so I just thought I'd tell you about the Chitwan forest and the rhinoceroses. We never did capture any rhinoceroses, and I really didn't capture any photos. Kind of what made me think of this story was I was watching the movie with Ben Stiller with Walter Mitty or something like that. He goes and chases down Sean Penn, and Sean Penn's taking a picture of a snow leopard. And he didn't take the photo. And he said, some things you just don't share and don't show and you don't do. And sometimes I think one reason I don't tell stories about all this stuff is because they're mine. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. I'm here and you're not. Why not? The story of chasing rhinos in the Chitwan forest. But I was very fortunate. My friends bought me a chicken at the end, and we ate it. A poulet in French. Life is good. By the way, Nepal and India are sort of English-speaking countries because they were colonized by the British. A benefit for most of the time.